Millete murder trial has now entered week 4. We'll take you back inside the courtroom for more emotional testimony. It's now been more than 5 years since anyone's seen the Chula Vista mom.
An 81-year-old woman was found trapped and suffocated in her own home. Her daughters, accused of the murder, were in court today.
A morning fire burned 90 acres in Sorrento Valley. I have the latest on evacuation orders and containment efforts.
A scare in Oceanside as flames race up a hill toward several businesses, including a San Diego Humane Society shelter.
80,000 drywall screws, one patriotic message, a military veteran, and his upcoming exhibit at the San Diego County Fair.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Anna Laurel.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. It is now week 4 in the Millete murder trial. And today, the sister-in-law of the missing mom, Maya Millete, was back on the witness stand for a third day.
Our Jenny Day joins us live from the South Bay with the latest from inside the courtroom today. Jenny?
Yes, some frustration here on day 12. Maya's sister-in-law saying out loud in court to Larry's defense attorney, saying, where are we going with all of this questioning? The judge told her that it is just part of the process. Now, speaking of witnesses, another development today is that Larry's parents, for the first time, are now allowed in the courtroom because they are no longer being asked to testify. Nearly 3 full days of testimony on week 4 of the Millete murder trial. Question after question by the defense about thousands of text messages between Maya's sister-in-law, Genesis Tabalanza, and Larry. The vast majority include Larry being concerned about Maya wanting a divorce and his desperation to save their marriage. Though there is no body, Larry is accused of killing his wife. Before Genesis was back on the stand, 2 others testified, a photographer and an estate planner. Prosecutors continuing to show Maya was planning for the future and did not choose to disappear. Maya saying, God forbid anything happens to me, I want to make sure my children are taken care of. She also had booked an appointment in Anza Borrego to have professional pictures taken of her and the kids on January 6th, 2021, the day before she disappeared. But Maya emailed and canceled, saying she had gotten into an accident and was bruised up, and could they reschedule for mid-January. Those photos were never taken, and the photographer testified she never heard from Maya again. Genesis also testified Maya told her Larry would punch holes in the walls at home when upset. The defense argued that's different from putting hands on someone, adding there was no infidelity, no financial neglect, and no physical abuse. An investigator with the district attorney's office took the stand next, talking about how he downloaded and reviewed Larry's cell phone 5 months after Maya went missing. He said searches included poisonous plants you can take to never wake up and how to train your wife with subliminal messages. Now, this investigator, right before court got out today, started getting into Maya's handwritten journal entries that date back to 2012. This is 9 years before she disappeared. They appear to be letters written to her daughters, saying that she is trying to keep the family together, but their dad, Larry, is physically and verbally abusive. One specific entry, Maya writes, I am afraid of your dad. He is capable of hurting me. This testimony resumes tomorrow. Live in Chula Vista, Jenny Day, News 8.
Right now, crews are working to build containment on a fire that started in Sorrento Valley.
It started around 9:30 this morning, triggering evacuations that are just now gradually being lifted. Our Alex Cheney joins us live with the very latest. Alex?
Yeah, that's right. It was quite a scare in this neighborhood this morning as the flames of that fire came right up to these electric poles just here. You can see out into the distance, along with most of the burn scar down here just into this canyon area. We've been seeing a few water trucks and a few firefighters who have been out there for the last hour or so. They're now starting to head back. What's also interesting is this fire came so close to homes that some of those water drops, those Phos-Chek drops, the pink water that you see falling from those airplanes, made it onto the area of this house in their front yard. But it was a pretty crazy morning because before those flames started to settle down. Here's more. From airplanes to helicopters and ground crews. There was a full firefight from CAL FIRE this morning in Sorrento Valley. CAL FIRE says this morning around 9:30 a.m. they received calls of a vegetation fire burning near Vista Sorrento and Sorrento Valley Parkway.
I just had my window open and I smelled that brush fire smell, and I'm like, wow. And I went outside and like, holy cow, there's a fire.
Leaving residents little time to pack their things and get out.
There's ash in the air, and I'm like, what the heck? How come there was no alerts? And then the phone started going by all our friends checking in on us.
I was in my office at UTC, and one of my coworkers came up to me and said, there's a fire in Sorrento Valley, you may want to go home. And that's when I found out about it. It was just about 45 minutes ago. I immediately got my car and came here.
San Diego Fire says those warnings will stay in place a few more hours as a precaution.
Just woke up and saw the bunch of people outside and that there was smoke and fire and the rest of it. My wife said there was fire trucks outside, so I came looking.
It's scary. It's right behind our house, but it looks like we have good firefight cover here, like the air cover and the firefighters. At least I feel like it'll be contained. CAL FIRE
told us forward progress was halted at about 12:30 this afternoon.
It's still terrifyingly close, but I can't help but cheer these guys on because they're just doing such a killer job. I'm still nervously watching because there's nothing we can do, but hopefully just watch these guys do their job to the best of their ability.
Now, you said some evacuation orders have been lifted. That's true. However, this neighborhood I'm in right now, they're still not letting people back into their homes. I spoke to San Diego Fire. They told me they're going to keep ground crews in this area for maybe the next about 24 to about 48 hours to mop up any of those hot spots. I also asked, what is the thinking of the cause of this fire? They said that is still under investigation. Reporting live, I'm Alex Cheney. Back over to you.
All right, Alex, thank you. Now to another fire today in North County near the Oceanside Airport.
This one triggered a small evacuation order, which has since been lifted as firefighters gained control of the fire around 1 this afternoon. Our Steve Price joins us live with the very latest. Steve.
So, Carlo and Anna, this fire has now been 100% contained for about 2.5 to 3 hours. That said, we can still hear the chainsaws going off on the hillside behind me. Hand crews are out there, kind of blocked by that fence. Oh, there, now you can hear it again. Kind of blocked by the fence, but they are still out there. What they're doing is cutting down the brush because the concern is that there are still hot spots on this hill and that some embers will get into that brush, reignite the fire. And the concern is that there are several homes, businesses, there's a monastery up here, and they just want to make sure that everyone is safe and that this fire really is out. Earlier today, we did have evacuation orders, and among those being forced to evacuate, the San Diego Humane Society's animal shelter. I want to show you some pictures that they sent us from earlier today as they were trying to get all those animals out of there. 116 animals moved from the shelter that's here on Airport Road to another facility that's a couple of miles away. They told me it took them about an hour to get all those animals in the carrier and then move to a safe location. Not an easy task. 33 staff members also were there. They also had to be evacuated. As for the fire itself, this one started around 10:15 just south of Camp Pendleton, west of the Oceanside Airport. Over 80 fire personnel helping to extinguish the flames, including a CAL FIRE plane that made some really strategic drops, kept this thing from spreading. They also had crews from Oceanside, from Vista, Carlsbad, Camp Pendleton, North County Fire, a lot of different agencies all working together under really tough conditions because, as you saw behind me, there is a steep hillside here, a lot of dry brush and wind, definitely taking no chances with those evacuation orders. The good news is that the evacuation orders now of evacuation warning. But Carlo and Anna, we're told just because it's a warning doesn't mean it's not serious. You really need to be prepared.
We issue a warning. People that have special needs that might take a little longer should leave right then. But it's more letting people know that an order may be coming your way if we can't control the fire, and that they need to start preparing their personal belongings, especially the important things like medications or things they need to care for their pets.
So also in this area, an RV storage facility. Unfortunately, a couple of those RVs did sustain some damage, but the good news, no homes were destroyed or damaged, and more importantly, no injuries. But as you can, I think you can actually hear it now, those chainsaws that are working behind me, and they are going to be here for a couple of more hours. And then they told me that tomorrow crews will be out here monitoring the area as well, just to make sure nothing sparks back up. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, I know. People in that area very happy to see that come to a closure.
Yeah. Great reminder for everyone, though. This time of year, make sure you have your plan, you have everything ready in case a fire hits your area.
It's time.
Two sisters accused of killing their mother and abusing their father appeared in court today for the first time.
News 8's Alex Lai has more on the accusations of neglect at the center of this case.
One of the sisters, Ingrid Wu, was released from custody under supervision today with conditions. Her sister, Rebecca Wu, was also in court, but her arraignment has been moved to tomorrow because they need an interpreter. Rebecca and Ingrid Wu are accused of murdering their mother and severely neglecting their father in their University City apartment on Genesee Avenue. On March 6th, San Diego police officers found the mother, 81-year-old Kunyin Yang, unconscious, face down in a gap between a pull-out couch and a bed frame. She was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators later determined Yang died of positional asphyxia, with neglect listed as a contributing factor. Her death was ruled a homicide. Police say 52-year-old Ingrid Wu and 53-year-old Rebecca Wu were their parents' caretakers at the time.
It was a total of 18 hours and 20 minutes that Ms. Yang was left essentially upside down in that couch.
Investigators say the sisters endangered their parents' health and failed to act as legally required, leading to the neglect of their 88-year-old father and the death of their mother. Today, the defense pushed back on that claim.
Ms. Rebecca Wu tried to move Ms. Yang 6 to 12 times during the day. Each time Ms. Yang would wake up and object.
A neighbor tells me off camera that the couple was distant to neighbors, didn't speak much English, and lived in the building for at least 8 years. They say there were often odd smells coming from the apartment.
Your Honor, Ms. Wu.
The sisters were arrested last Thursday, 3 months after their mother's death, and were booked into Las Colinas Women's Jail on suspicion of murder and elder abuse. In court, prosecutors asked the judge to set Ingrid Wu's bail at $5 million.
Because those conditions cannot be enough to both keep Mr. Wu safe and ensure attendance at court, bail is appropriate.
The judge declined that request, citing Ingrid Wu's lack of criminal history. Instead, she was released under supervision with GPS monitoring and a criminal protective order prohibiting her from contacting her father, who remains in a care facility. She was also ordered not to communicate with her sister except through attorneys. Ingrid's preliminary hearing is set for June 22nd. The readiness trial is set for June 16th. Alex Lai, News 8.
All right, Alex, thank you. Today, the San Diego City Council voted to reverse paid parking in Balboa Park and to also reduce what you pay for trash pickup.
Paid parking will stop by the end of this year, while the changes to trash fees take effect in July of next year. The monthly cost will drop to about $38.75 starting in 2027, down from the more than $50 that had been planned. As for paid parking at Balboa Park, if you bought passes that extend beyond December 31st, you will be refunded at a prorated rate. An annual increase to California's gas tax will soon take effect.
We've got more details on that increase, plus a closer look at the state of California's fuel industry. That's next.
Plus, how the local Filipino community is reacting to the strong earthquake that hit the Philippines. That's still ahead.
And warmer weather and big waves are on the way for Southern California. I'm meteorologist Sean Stiles. We'll tell you what you can expect in your forecast.